Are you wondering which space heater is the best on Amazon? Well, let me introduce you to the Dreo lineup here of space heaters, because a lot of them are going to be very similar, but there's some new features in this style of space heater that has just been released. It is going to be a fan that's also a space heater. So let's take it all out. Let's explain the difference between each one and explain which one is going to be the best for you and your house. And these are going to be the 3 top small room space heaters you can find on Amazon. So this is going to be on the Dreo 320, the Space, as well as the Dreo 316. There's a little bit difference between all of them, but they're all going to be using the Hyperamics 2-second instant heat systems. So that means they all are going to be using similar heating elements built inside here, and they even look similar. They're going to be similar size. And they're going to be able to produce heat in about 2 seconds from the second you turn it on. They will also come with 1 Fahrenheit of thermostat control, which means that they can all come with auto mode that you can dial in the temperature on board, and then it will keep that temperature up to 1 degrees Fahrenheit from 41 to 90 degrees. And depending on which model, they'll all come with different types of modes. So on the Heater 316, it's going to have the more basic modes where you have heat, eco, and fan only. It's also going to have less buttons up top, so you come with 5 buttons: the power button, the mode button, the temperature adjustment, and the timer. When you get to the Atom, it's coming with not just the power button coming with the timer, it comes with oscillation, something that's missing from your 316. It comes with horizontal oscillation. The horizontal oscillation is missing from your 320. It'll also come with the modes as well as the ability to turn the sound off. So all of the Dreo small room space heaters are really geared for rooms up to 200 square feet, or 20 by 10, or 15 by 15. So that's going to be like a small to medium sized bedroom. And that's going to be if you're operating them on high. So if we're comparing the larger room space heaters from Dreo, this is going to be on the Solaris Max. It's the larger version of the Solaris Slim that's coming with a larger heating element, and it's going to have the smart Wi-Fi enabled. This is going to be on the 714, which is going to be coming with the LED light ring, as well as is coming with the 1500 watt space heater and a table fan setup. And this is the Dreo 719S, which is going to be a wall mounted space heater, and that's going to give you up and down oscillation, because you can make this higher on your walls or lower on your walls depending on how you set it up. I wouldn't say any of these space heaters are going to be quieter than the others, because they're all at the lowest end. They're going to be about 25 decibels in terms of their sound. So your 714 has the ability to oscillate left and right, and that's something that your 320 does not. And when you look at it, it doesn't look like it came with any features that could make it oscillate left and right, but there's like this turntable element on the bottom that allows it to rotate left and right. You can also make it go up and down. So up and down while it goes left and right are some of the circulating features on your 714 here. The Dreo 714, even though it's going to seem small, it actually does a good job in terms of circulating the air inside the room it's in. So I am about 6 feet away, and on H3, which is level 3, every time the space heater hits me, it is going to be like a warm, gentle wave of heat. So the output really extends out, and even from 10 feet, 15 feet away, you should be able to feel some heat reaching you on the other side of your room or in the corner of your room. And that allows it, because you have the ability to go left and right and up and down, to really dial in where you want the heat to go and how you want the heat to circulate inside the room it's in. So we're going to pause the oscillation here, and then if we just have it going up and down oscillation alone, and pause that as well. So this is now going to be in the static mode. The thing I want to check is that you have it on H1, so that's how loud H1 is. So even though I'm about 15 feet away from my Dreo 714, I can still feel the heat blowing at me from 15 feet away. And that's more range than what you get from your smaller space heaters from Dreo or other small space heaters. If you want to test how noisy your 714 is, this is on H1, so level 1. This is going to be on level 2. going to be on level 3. If you want to switch between the different modes here, you can set the temperature. So 85, 84. You can set this down all the way to 41 degrees or up to 95 degrees. You also have the ability to go F3, F2, F1, so that's just going to be for fan only. It doesn't have the same output as the larger propeller fans or a vortex fan will, but it's going to have more output than what you get from any of these space heaters from Dreo or other small room space heaters. And you can adjust the oscillation from 0, 30, 60, 90. So you can adjust the up and down oscillation from 0, 30, and 60 degrees. And if you want to do the left and right, it goes from 90, 60, 30 to 0. And that's going to be the presets. Those are the presets. It has a timer for when you turn it off. And if you want to see where it's going to be shifting, there is a platform on the bottom that will rotate your unit left and right. And then it has a motor that makes it go up and down. If you notice on your Solaris Max as well as other Dreo space heaters, some of them will come with the metal fan blades instead of the plastic fan blades on the back. And you can open these up if you use screwdrivers and open it up to clean. But generally speaking, these space heaters are just going to be faster, easier to use, and they come with accurate displays, much like their smaller brethren here. This is going to be the display on the Solaris Max. These are these tower-like designs. So we're just going to turn off the oscillation. On H1, this is how loud it is. So it is very quiet. These tower fans are going to be more quiet than what you get with these propeller fans. So on H1, you won't even be able to hear the Solaris Max really. It's just that quiet, just like the Solaris Slim. If you go to H2, suddenly you can hear it a little bit better from 3 feet away. But still very quiet. On an H3, you can feel the heat, but you can't really hear it that well. So if you're looking for something quieter, the tower fans are going to be much quieter than these tabletop fan units. So if you're just measuring the heat here, so we're going to measure it out, you see that it is going to be close to about 200, 215, 220 like you get on these tabletop propeller fan units. It is just that the range is not going to be the same. So at level 3, if I put my hand here, I can barely feel the heat. So on level 3, if I put my hand here, I know that as I get closer to the unit, like right here is the sweet spot about 2 feet away, you can really feel a lot of heat, like a column of heat being generated right around here. But from range, so if I'm equal distance, so I'm about 10 feet away from the Solaris Max and the Solaris Slim, you will not be able to feel the heat as well. You really won't feel it. It won't have the same range you get on these tabletop fan units. Or if you just want to use it as a fan, and I have this, let's say I have this on high fan speed mode. Even on fan, as I move away, like right here, which is going to be closer to about 8 feet, I can barely feel the fan. That is something that your tabletop units are definitely able to push air further away from the base. And talking about the 719, if I want to turn it on, simple. I got the display here. It's on H3. I can have H2, H1. I'm going to have the temperature mode so that can set the temperature. I got it on fan only. Now fan only has one speed. There's not going to be multiple speeds for that. And I can go back to H1. So once you have it on H1, you can see that the vents will open on their own. And you can adjust those vents because you have the oscillation there. And that's going to move around the vents up and down. So you can either set the angle yourself or you can have the 719 oscillate up and down. It's also very quiet. So this is on the up and down, or I could set it myself here, and this will just be on its lowest setting. And if I press the oscillation again, it'll just go into a more upright position. The 719 is also going to be very quiet, so from even range here, from 3 feet away, this is on H1, it's whisper quiet. You can still hear it is louder than the others, but it's also generating a lot of heat. I would say that this generates, or it feels like it generates more heat than all of the other fans in our test here, or the space heaters in our test. So H3 is going to be the loudest out of all of the space heaters inside of our test, but it's also creating a tremendous amount of heat. So I can feel the heat blowing at me from 10 feet away. So I can still feel the heat blowing at me from about 10 feet away here. So on the Dreo 320, if we want to just turn it on, we just press the power button, and that's going to activate the menu display. The menu display is quite rudimentary. You're going to have H1, H2, H3. If you want to test out the modes here, you're going to have your temperature settings, so you can adjust that all the way down from 41 to 95. You have your fan mode, so that means it's not going to be using any of the heating element here. It's just going to be on a fan, and that's going to be F1, F2, F3. This is how loud the F3 is from 3 feet away. So it doesn't have the same power you would get from a tabletop fan or a vortex fan, but it is going to be a functional fan for anybody about 5 to 10 feet in front of it on max setting. This is on fan 2. It's on fan 1. It doesn't have any of the motorized oscillation, vertical or horizontal, that you see on the 714 here. And if I want to place it on H1, let's do a heating test. Well, first let's see how loud it is. H1, 3 feet away. H2, 3 feet away. H3, 3 feet away. So we're testing out the heat here. On H1, it is 236 degrees, so it is pretty hot. So I'm about 10 feet away, and this is going to be the max reach that you can get on your 320. So at 10 feet, I can barely feel the heat, even though it's directed right at me. And that's just indicative of how powerful the propeller is, because the heating element is still going to be at about 200, 225 degrees. And as an owner and reviewer of the Dreo Atom for the past 4 years, I've had all of them, and I could tell you that there is not a big difference in their output compared to this fan, which is going to be on the Dreo 320. If you're using these in a larger room, let's say a living room or a larger bedroom, the 320 or this type of unit is going to be better because it can spread the air further away from the space heater itself without having to be too loud. Obviously, if you have this on the floor where the heat is going to be on the floor, and then you want it to mix with the hot air above, it's better if you're going to be able to aim the heat upwards, because that gives you more functionality than if you just have the heat going sideways. So the heating element that you see inside of these space heaters is basically identical to what you're seeing inside of this space heater, the Atom 320. But these are all 1500 watts. So 1500 watts, 1500 watts, 1500 watts. So the heating coil here, it doesn't output more wattage. That is something that a lot of people get confused. So this is generating 1500 watts, this is generating 1500 watts, this generates 1500 watts. So the difference between these models generally is that one will not have any oscillation here. This version will have the horizontal oscillation. That means it can go left and right. It also comes with the auto mode. It comes with some of these versions come with Wi-Fi. Some of them can be used in the bathroom. And this type of version, it has the more of a tabletop desktop fan system that allows it to also be rotated up and down, so you could get better air circulation in the room it's in, so that the heat is going to be more evenly spread out inside the room, and hypothetically it's going to heat it up faster than before. But the biggest secret here that a lot of people are not going to get until it gets, the springtime or the summertime, if you're watching this in the winter, is really that this is a fan. So what you're getting is that basically you're getting similar fan mechanism to these larger fans from Dreo that are for your tabletops. And these are some of the best in the business. But when it's not hot, you can just put this on fan only, and then this will act as a tabletop fan. So there's going to be a 4-season usage out of your Dreo here because it's a fan. And these can also be put on fan but they're not going to be as powerful and they're not going to work like a fan because the heating element is covering the entire airflow. It's covering all the airflow. So here, because it's that fan model, because it pulls in more air directly through its rear, right? It just has a bigger rear panel than these guys. You guys can see it's a bigger, it's going to pull in more air. It's going to be able to produce faster. So if you want a 4-season space heater, you don't want to have to buy one of these, and you don't want to have to buy one of these. That's where this falls, right? You don't want to buy this. You don't want to buy this. This is where this is coming in. So ultimately, what's my verdict? Which one of these are going to be the best space heaters for your home? Well, for the small rooms, I'm going to give it to the Dreo Atom. And that's because it's still going to be very quiet. It's not going to have the range of the 320, but it's still going to have that sideward oscillation. And I just think the build construction and the quality is very good. For the large room Dreo space heaters, it is much closer in terms of which one's the best. All three are so good at what they do. Me personally, I favor the Dreo 719S. If you can place it against the wall, you're not going to beat the overall performance, and it's very quiet and easy to use and clean. But the new Dreo 714, it's noisier, but it does a better job circulating the air inside of the room it's in. So they're all going to be very good space heaters. The question is, how much do you want to pay for them? Because for the small room, generally you don't want to spend more than $40 or $45 on any of them. And for the larger ones, it's going to be closer to about $100 for the Max or the 714, and about $120, $130 on sale for the 719S. So don't overthink it. All of them are pretty good. Just remember, get the one that's going to be right for the room it's in. So if you need more heat, get the bigger one. If you need less heat, get the smaller one. And if you need more range, get the fan versions. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you next time. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. And please hit that like or subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll see you soon. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.